And when it comes to the person who made the most money in poker over the past decade, that list certainly includes you, sir, Mr. Daniel Negreanu, as well as Phil Ivey, and potentially the person that's getting ready to induct you. And that's the man from poker royalty himself. How about a nice round of applause, please, for Mr. Brian Balsbaugh.
So we have a slideshow that loosely correlates with my speech here this evening. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is both an honor and a privilege to be able to speak with you tonight on behalf of the newest member of Poker Hall of Fame, Daniel Negreanu. So that quote, that's Daniel's favorite quote. That's called "The Man in the Arena." And I think it's pretty obvious why it's his favorite quote. Daniel lives his life in the arena. He battles every day, both on the poker table and away. He is a confident, generous man with a tremendous amount of integrity. He doesn't just enter the arena when he's playing poker, he lives in it. And he plays a much bigger game. Daniel has distinguished himself as the player who has won more money than anyone else in the history of poker. His poker accomplishments are very well known and well documented by the poker media and Nolan, Dalla. So I'd like to just spend my time tonight talking about Daniel as the man that I know him to be. The man that those of us who are fortunate enough to know him well experience on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so first, Daniel's an incredibly confident person. Now, I don't know where this confidence comes from, but you can't deny that it exists, right? I can tell you 100 stories about his confidence, but tonight I want to give you 3 of my favorites. So 11 years ago, I decided to leave the PGA Tour as a lawyer and agent and began representing professional poker players. And I didn't know anything about poker, and so I had to come up with a list of poker players to go contact. And I actually contacted Steve Lipscomb and Adam Pliska. We put a list together, and Mr. Negreanu was number 14 as the best potential guy that I could work with. So I was fortunate enough to get in contact with Daniel, and we set up a dinner in Minneapolis, and we hit it off right away. So we had some cocktails, and I loved the guy and his energy right from the start. And that night, he agreed to be my first client in poker. But that's not what I remember the most. Okay, toward the end of the evening, he looked me right in the eye and he said, "You don't even know this yet, but you're going to make more money by working with me than all your other clients combined." And I thought, man, this dude is crazy. He hasn't won a tournament in like 3 years, according to my online research. What did I know? But I said, hey, I hope that's true for the both of our sakes, but whatever happens, let's have fun doing it. And we have. And guess what? He was correct. It was like he'd seen into the future and he knew the ride we were about to go on before it even happened. So a second story about Daniel's confidence, and then a few months later he channeled it And he put together an incredible historic season, probably the best year any poker player has ever had in 2004. I mean, he won everything he entered, too many to even mention. But a couple moments stick out. So in 2004, his primary goal, he set all year, was to be the Card Player Magazine Player of the Year. That was the award, that's what he wanted to win. And it's hard to describe how badly he wanted to win this award, right? And he led the race the entire year. But through what I'll politely describe as a quirk in the scoring system, the day before the final big tournament, that Jack McClellan was the tournament director, the World Poker Tour 5 Diamond Bellagio Championship, David Pham overtook him in the Card Player of the Year award. So with one event to go, he's got 365 players to beat. He needs to make the final table in order to win the Card Player of the Year. Now, I'm clearly thinking there's no chance. I was freaked out, I was a little bummed, thinking, man, you deserved it, right? First day of the event, he said, Brian, I'm not going to, just final table this tournament, I'm going to win it. And he did. It was crazy. He won the tournament, he won $1.7 million. He won the Card Player of the Year award. And this is the time that I started questioning whether or not he was an actual human being. Third story about his confidence. Okay, so 2007, poker's blowing up, and we were, Daniel was a partner in a business that needed some cash, okay? And I was the one that called him and said, we need to raise some dough. And so he says, how much? And I said, $500,000. He goes, by when? The end of the month. And he goes, okay, well, Tunica's next week, so I'll just fly to Tunica, and then I'll play in the World Poker Tour event, and I'll just get the money. And I thought, man, this is our business strategy? But true to form, and after another display of that crazy, amazing confidence, he did go to Tunica. He did not win the tournament. He finished second. He did not win $500,000. He won $502,000. Sometimes I think Daniel just sees the world differently than the rest of us. That he somehow has cracked the code. He has the ability to figure out exactly what he wants, to get clear intention, and then he's confident that he can make it happen. So in addition to having an unbelievable amount of confidence, he's also incredibly generous. He's generous with his time and his money, and his legacy will include stories of incredible generosity to his fans, to his friends, and to lots of different charitable organizations. So to his fans. Around 2001, Daniel started a website called Full Contact Poker. And I went to the Wayback Machine, that's 2002. That was the entire website. And if you could read that, it's pretty funny. It said, hey, this is me in my Lucky Matt Sundin jersey. Daniel spent thousands and thousands of hours blogging and posting on this forum and just generally being accessible to people who had an interest in poker. There were times when he would answer 100 emails a day from strangers. Random questions. Random questions about how to play a hand or bankroll management. And I couldn't believe just how incredibly generous he was with his time in reaching out to those people. And we've all seen him take pictures with the fans on the rail, sign autographs. And he doesn't do it because he's supposed to. He just does it because he's a generous person. And he genuinely understands that a little bit of his time can greatly impact someone's day. And he even includes his fans in on the action. So this year in Twitter, he posted that he was willing to sell some of his action in the $1 million buy-in event to anyone that wanted it. So roughly 20 strangers answered, and they ponied up $5,000 each. A week later, Daniel wired them $41,440. And now that's what I call getting your fans in on the action. So he's incredibly generous with his fans. He's also very generous with his friends. I have been asked before that, what is Daniel's league, right? So every poker player has a league, or almost every poker player, I should say. And that a leak is essentially, as all of you probably know, is you win money at the poker tables and then you take it over to the pit or the sports or whatever, or various other places in Las Vegas, and you lose money. So if Daniel could be accused of having a leak, it would be his generosity. He has historically had a very difficult time saying no to a friend. He now prefers, however, to teach his friends to fish rather than buying them a fish dinner. He is a role model for poker players on how to live a responsible life and how to empower their friends. So Daniel is incredibly charitable with his friends and his fans, but also with charities. So he's organized and conducted several events. His own charity golf tournament called, the Big Swing for the Lily Claire Foundation. I've seen him wash dishes and serve food at Tree Square, which is a food bank here in Las Vegas. But over the past 2 years, he's stepped up his game in this arena to a completely. So he doesn't just write checks, spend his own, spend money, but he's using his celebrity status to actually inspire other people to give. Last year, he raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and last night he celebrated with his biggest charitable endeavor ever, a black tie dinner gala at City Center for St. Jude's. And Daniel didn't just show up. He helped plan the event. He participated in hundreds of phone calls, dozens of meetings. And this first-year event was a huge success. One lucky guy's wife even won a Corvette Stingray because Kit Helmuth played in the tournament for him and her. Poker has always been a charitable community, and it's no surprise that our greatest ambassador, Daniel Negreanu, is leading the way. So in addition to being incredibly confident and generous, above all, our hero, Daniel Negreanu, is a man of integrity. It's one thing to be a man in the arena while competing in poker, but Daniel lives day in and day out in the arena. He's never shy about speaking his mind and stating his opinion. But this all comes from a stand that Daniel makes. He will not say or do anything for any reason that doesn't align with his beliefs. Now, as Daniel's lawyer and agent, you can all imagine over the years, having your star client opine on some controversial PokerStars issues or, peace in the Middle East. keeps me up at night. Gray on the head. So one day I had this great idea. I'm going to tell Daniel the story about Michael Jordan. So in 1990, Michael Jordan was at the top of the basketball world. He was an icon in North Carolina. And he was approached by a candidate running for the U.S. Senate from North Carolina who asked for Michael Jordan's endorsement in the race. And Michael Jordan said, no, thank you, I don't do political endorsements. And when asked why, he replied, well, because Republicans buy sneakers too. So obviously Jordan knew that from a marketing perspective, alienating crowds wasn't a winning strategy. And I was really proud of myself. I thought, okay, Daniel's going to, we're going to reel this in a little bit. So what happened next was that Daniel enlightened me incredibly about the type of man that he is. He said, Brian, and this is a direct quote, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't stand up for my beliefs. In fact, I see not speaking my mind as being out of integrity. So he's the one that taught me the lesson, and he continues to teach me lessons. So at 40 years old, he's halfway to having Doyle Brunson's career. And over the next 40 years, when you see Daniel winning tournaments on TV or encounter Daniel in person, know that you are witnessing a confident, generous man full of integrity. And know that he's in the arena every day, fighting the good fight, that he's a humble, caring, accepting man. He's a proud member of the Poker Hall of Fame, and that he's playing a game much bigger than poker, and he's winning at that too. Love you like a brother. Thank you. We got a quick video.